And we've got our first question from Be Kind Be Kind Compassionate. How to stay away from toxic people or deal with them if they are part of family? It's such a wonderful question, right? And I'm sure all of us here at least know one person in our life who's been behaving toxic towards us, or maybe saying negative about everything, or maybe trying to pull us back or something or the other. We all have experienced at least one person, and that person generally is in our family. And it reminds me of the old Marathi saying, which is one of the greatest of the saints of Maharashtra, has said that Nindakache ghar asave shezari. That means the person who is constantly criticizing you should be your neighbor. And why did he say that? And there is Kabir's Doha also, where he talks about, the person has to be next to you who's criticizing you. Sometimes God has very mysterious ways to work for us. If that is what you that is what you believe in God. If you don't believe in God, then you can call it universe or a creator or whoever is up there who has created this whole big universe. It has not been an accident. It has happened, evolved over a period of time. So this whole evolution, that somebody who was designing this evolution, like you and I are designing our lives, while that person was designing, maybe there was a mysterious way that you can grow in your life is by experiencing criticism. I'm not saying it's the best way to grow, but it is one of the ways. What happens when someone criticizes you is you go through a process where there are two things and two outcomes can happen. First outcome is you looking at that criticism and shutting out and shunning yourself, or you're going inward and you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm so bad, I'm so this and I'm so that, and I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. People always criticize me, reject me and judge me and stuff like that. And then there is another way that when you have a constant criticism coming to you, there's another way to deal with it is by looking at it, okay, this person is here to show me my path that I want to walk on through criticism. And sometimes in our lives, we choose people around us. Or sometimes we have people planted in our life by chance, like your family members are by chance, they are not by choice, right? So what happens when somebody criticizes is your response to that criticism matters the most, rather than what other person is bringing into your life. Whether it is your own husband, whether it's your own wife, whether it's your father, mother, whether it's your boss, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's your grandparents, it doesn't matter who the person is. And if the person is bringing certain things to you to criticize you, what matters the most is your response. So how do you respond to the criticism? Very simple is, as I said, there are two ways. Most people respond to the criticism by looking at it as, oh, there is something wrong with me. Taking the criticism personally and feeling there is something wrong with me and maybe I'm not good enough. And if you face criticism at a very young age, when you do not have the ability to rationalize other people's opinions about you, most often you go inside and you shut down and you feel that you're not good enough. But as you grow up, you start developing the ability to understand whether this is right kind of a judgment on my behavior, on my being, on what I'm doing or what I want in my life. Now, once your rational comes in, you realize that this person may be all the time not just negative towards myself, but everything and everybody around. So in that case, your response changes to, this person is negative. There's no problem with me. This person is negative and this person is toxic to my being. Now, once you realize that, then you have to develop the ways that you can deal with this person's conversations with you. Maybe that person is having a direct conversation with you, or maybe they're talking something behind your back. How are you going to not take that discussion or that argument or that conversation personally? Is the biggest response that you can create for yourself. See, all criticism is not a bad criticism. Sometimes criticisms also come to us for us to look at ourselves, introspect and see if there is something that I really need to work on to overcome and change this. Like in my family, we have a certain way of giving feedback to each other. Whenever we notice something that it is happening repeatedly, and maybe it's not a good thing to, for me or for my son, for my husband, for anybody in that matter, we discuss those things and we give the feedback. Now you need to understand, whom are you taking the feedback from? What's the intention of this person behind giving you the feedback? That's why I said not all criticism is a bad criticism. Sometimes when we make up our mind that this person is toxic and this person is always giving me a wrong feedback or this person is always criticizing, sometimes you miss out on the good things also that that person is saying. So you have to develop an internal ability, a filter to scan through all the information that comes from this person and see to it that does it make sense to me? Is this true? And if that is true, then pick it up and change those aspects of your life. But if it is not true, make your filter like a oiled glass door, where the person is throwing that criticism to you. It's not even touching the glass door because of the oil, it's just slipping away. So you can never control the person's behavior or their actions towards you. What you can always control is the response that you give to those actions and those behaviors. Sometimes you got to challenge that action. Sometimes you got to ask a different question. Like, if someone says that you always do this, and you probably don't do this always. Like, sometimes people just come back and tell you that, you're always late. You're always this. So you got to ask this question. The second question that you need to ask is, could you please give me the specific time or the specific events when I was late? Maybe out of 10, 2 you got delayed and 8 you were on the time, right? So by asking a different question to this person, you can interrupt and break this person's certain attitude or certain conversation towards you by asking a smart question. You have to develop this ability, of course, but to develop that ability to ask the right kind of a question to the person to interrupt that pattern, you have to first calm down your emotions that get triggered by this person's accusations. Or sometimes the person will come and say that you never do this, you never wake up on time, you never do your bed, you never clean your room. I'm just giving you random examples, considering it could be mother, father, considering something like, close person. So then asking a question, is it always or is it sometimes? Is it when I'm getting late for something that I do it like this, or is it every day you feel I do? By asking a second question, you are changing your response to the person's allegations or criticism towards you. And these questions are pretty powerful. When you do that, the person kind of goes on the back foot and feels that, okay, I need to think. Whether it's always, it's never. So you got to ask smart questions so that you break the pattern of constant bombarding on you. And you got to go back, the person will go back in their space to see whether this is true or whether this is false. One of the ways that you can deal with a toxic person in your life is by switching off or tuning off whatever they are saying. But there's a challenge in that. If sometimes, see, I understand something, not every person is always good or always bad. Not every person is always going to be critical or always going to be goody-goody. There will be mix of everything, right? But when you label a person as this person is toxic, everything, even if the good things coming out of their mouth are going to make you feel that they are not good for you. So sometimes tuning off completely can be a bad idea. But if you have a person like that who's all the time only negative, maybe developing the ability to tune off what happens is something that can also help you. Okay, so this is my advice to you. Learn to develop great questions as a comeback so that you can break and interrupt the pattern of this person who's constantly criticizing you at your home. Let me know if this helped you, And let's give this person a lot of love and blessings at this point of time to deal with this toxic family member. Shall we all give a lot of love?